What's up?
There
What's
they
up?
are.
What's going on?
What's up?
I'm on the left side versus the right side. Oh man,
Oh, look at
I don't
that. We
know.
swapped. We
It's
swapped
okay.
places.
What when let me ask you a quick question though. I thought you said that it will start broadcasting from the actual page.
Yeah, it
It's
should
not.
show up like if you go to that SDR insider page, it should show up like as you scroll through.
Well, the
It
only
should show the live there.
yeah, I'm seeing last week super admin view. Yeah, I'm just seeing last week. Or is this us right now? Oh, here we go. I see it now. Somebody must have commented on last week's show because it's up on the top in front. But
Here,
I
let
do
me
see us here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's going on, Z-Boy?
here we
I don't know
are.
what I just called you.
I don't know what that was either. We got a fun show today.
I
Pretty
was gonna go
pumped about it.
Z-Dog. But I don't know. It didn't come out right.
We got
Yeah, man.
the unicorn connector herself, Julie
Unbelievable.
Smith Nestor.
Yeah. She was amazing. Sassy Sales Moms. I saw that Sunday night. I logged into that. It was pretty cool. She was just herself, and so was Shanda, and I thought it was really cool. I
Great.
thought, two people not know, just like we did, man, first time, right? They just fucking went for it. I
Yep.
thought it was great. Let's bring her in.
All right.
There she is.
Hey guys.
Good
We should be
morning.
Oh,
floating.
there's Shanda.
Oh, she's here. Oh, all
Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah, of course
Woohoo!
she's here. And she's so awesome. She got up early just to be here.
Yeah,
See?
we should bring her in. Throw her the link and
I
just
mean,
bring her in.
seriously.
Let's get her in
Seriously.
here.
All right.
She's
1 second.
awesome.
Shanda, send your email address and we'll get you in on this show. No, maybe she will, maybe she won't.
It's hard to say. This is kind of early for her,
She
but
don't have she don't have her makeup on. I got
possible. Yeah, it's
it.
possible. Yeah. But she's
That's all good.
coming, so you never know.
I didn't get my makeup on either.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I wore a
No,
hat.
we saw your show on Sunday. I saw your show on Sunday. I don't know if Zach did, but I thought I was inspired too because like I felt like just like Zach and I did it, like we just went for it. We didn't care. There was no production value. We didn't even have this e-stream thing. We just went live. And I think when you just go for it, that's today, it's there's so much talk about this, let's talk about that, let's plan this, let's plan that, fuck that. We were just like let's do it, because I noticed that I did that a lot, right? Like I'd say, oh, I want this to be, let me plan this out, let's figure out what we're going to say, how we're going to do it, what it's going to look like. And then I'm like, man, if you try to do that and then could try to compare yourself to other shows and stuff like that, it's just you're never going to get off the ground.
Yep.
And so I felt like let's just do it. Let's just start recording and see what happens. And here we are, 16. Actually, I think we did one or two without any name, just the two of us. So
Yeah.
really like 18 maybe,
Wow.
but episode 16 for real. And here she is. So first week on the job, let's hear it. Let's I don't even know where to start. There's so much to talk about with you. But tell us how it's going so far. I mean, it's a couple of 3 days, 4 days.
It is going so awesome. I mean, I don't know if you know, like I'm a geek about sales enablement, about enablement in general. Like I'm one of those self-help people. I've from the back in the day, I've always loved it. It started with me in high school. My mom got me this VHS, like little, that's how old I am. VHS little cassettes about called Where There's a Will, There's an A. And it was like a motivational speaker that taught planning and time management so that you could get good grades. And I have ADHD, turns out, but I didn't know that. My mom also was a teacher, didn't believe in that.
Mm.
So it didn't even matter if I had it. She didn't believe in it. And she just helped me learn. And that's where it got started. But starting with Flowsome has been so cool because Ryan Scalera and Mark Cope are two of the coolest people I've ever met. And their passion for coaching and teaching salespeople, helping people be better is really awesome. Like it is exactly what I was looking for. I love to learn about sales. I've been in so many different sales industries and through so much sales training, and I love problem focused and problem centric training like that type of sales. And gap selling, which is what I have the luck of getting to go through this week. Training is so amazing. I don't know if it's more amazing because of Keenan's gap selling, which is so awesome. I'm listening to it on Audible too, and it's really cool because Keenan narrates it, and it's really awesome to hear it from him.
Does he yell, or is he calm, cool, and
Sometimes he
collected?
does yell.
Oh, okay.
No, he does. He like just like he's speaking. It's like that.
Yeah. Well, that's how he
Maybe not
speaks.
as loud. Yeah, exactly. So, and then Rachel May and Brady, they are such awesome trainers. I don't even know if they really are considered whatever they're doing. They're the ones coaching and training us through this, and it is really cool. So I feel pretty lucky to be able to work for a company like Flowsome that sees the value in investing in training and coaching and things like that for their salespeople. Because this isn't just for the BDRs. This is actually more for the entire revenue. Anyone who's involved with revenue, so salespeople. So it's just really awesome. So I'm excited, a little bit overwhelmed because I'm coming from, like I said, I've been in a lot of sales industries. So like medical device was probably my hardest because I actually had to learn how to do the procedure of the device that I was selling. And it was crazy because I had to use fluoroscopic guidance and like, oh, that was really rough.
Oh,
And
wow.
and the first time a surgeon turned to me and was like, "Hey, do you think we should go this distal?" Da, da? I'm like, did he just ask me, like, what if I say the wrong thing? This is awful. And mine was medical spinal. I worked for Medtronic and it was spinal
Wow.
diagnostic tool through imaging. And so it was kind of yeah, it was interesting. So I love that job, but I'm not afraid to learn new things. But Flowsome is a Salesforce product, so it's extremely technical and really needed and awesome, but it's just an enterprise sales type thing, and I gotta learn a whole new I
Yeah,
gotta
but
get a
you,
whole new
what was you right before you came to Flowsome? You were at another company that was sort of technical, no?
Abstract was Abstract was an AI product. It
Yeah.
was not it is technical, but I started my career in a call center, and telesales and stuff like that. So and I worked my way up in management and things. And so I have a lot of ops. I love ops. And so their call coaching tool was very to me very intuitive and also yeah, I mean it was just very easy to pick up. I didn't need to
Uh,
know the why behind as an
mhm.
SDR at all, right?
Yeah.
Like I just needed to know the questions to ask people to figure out if it would solve the problems that they had. And to be honest, it yeah, it's going to solve a lot of people's problems, but it's just one of those things where it was just not hard for me to learn technically now. So I've been through technical stuff and I've not had a problem with it. I am certified in project management and have been in the tech when I worked for a company called MBNA America, which
Oh,
was a
I know
credit
them.
card company.
Yeah.
And it was really by far the coolest, in my opinion. My father was one of the founders, so like maybe I'm just a little teeny biased, but it was one of the coolest companies because it really it was just on the forefront of so much when it came to marketing and it was one of the first to do something called affinity marketing, which was instead of marketing the credit card, they marketed towards people's affinity. So you might not have ever heard of MBNA, but you might have heard of the LL Bean card, or
Hmm.
you might have heard
They
of
back
Virginia
it,
Tech.
right? Yeah, they
Yeah,
back the card, right? Yeah.
that was the marketing. Yeah, they
Mm.
yeah they just basically had partnerships. They really utilized the whole partnership idea, and it was the same product that every group had. Now, every group obviously negotiated different terms, and MBNA was a customer obsessed company, which was where that I became customer obsessed because over every single door, and I'm not exaggerating, every door, even to the bathroom, it said put the customer first or think of your no, it said think of yourself as the customer. And then all over the building, it said things like put the customer first and mean it, like all these different things, like very awesome, really cool. And so basically, they were able to they were able to get like an affinity and a marketing thing. So it's just where I got started, and it really a lot of technical learning. So I don't have a problem with it, but I'm not getting younger. And so
Yes,
I
you are.
just no, I wish I was, right? But
We're
so
getting
I
better. See, that's what I tell people. We're not getting older. We're getting better.
it feels like it, Mark, to be
I do.
honest. It definitely feels like it. Yeah. So Flosum's going to be awesome. I am starting with the learning, which is kind of cool. I really firmly believe in the fact, especially at the BDR point, I do not need to be. In fact, it's probably better that I'm not a product or technical expert. It's important. Like,
Yeah.
if I really want to do
Mhm.
good discovery and really find out what's going on, then it's almost better, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think you've got a great team over there, and I mean, Ryan and I are pretty good friends. I always say when Ryan Scalera calls, you pick up the phone. In fact, when he called me the other day, I couldn't pick up the phone. I was literally on a call trying to set a meeting or something. I don't know, and then I called him right back, and I felt really bad. Like I always answer his call, and he came right out and he's like, I need a BDR. And of course, that's the business I'm in. So I'm like, well, tell me more, like what's going on? Cause I didn't want to just recommend somebody, and I want to work for him. Like I want the business, and we talked about it. Again, I've been talking to him about working for him for a long time. And, he wanted me to go work for him when he was going over to Adapar, and it was in the city. And he actually thought I lived in Jersey City, and I live nowhere near Jersey City.
Oh,
So I was like, Ryan, unless you're going to pay me like 150K a year, I'm not driving to Manhattan every day. And so we just tabled that conversation, and then so I'm like, well, he's like, don't you? He's like, a lot of good people, and I said, and honestly, I said, do you know Julie Smith Nestor? And he was like, I have no idea who that is. And I said, well, he goes, can she do like, is she good? And like, does she, can she handle like it's technical? And I'm like, well, I know what she has. She has the four things, just from what I could tell from talking to her and watching her post. She has the four things that, Jeremy Donovan says you got to have, right? Which is grit, conscientiousness, curiosity, and general mental ability. And I think you had all four of those things. And that's what I said to him. And then I told him you were going to be on the LinkedIn Live thing for cold calling. I'm like, well, why don't you just check that out? Right. And then he goes, okay. And then that day comes and goes, right? And midday Thursday, he goes, so how did she do? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't hear her. I'm like, ask Jared, like Jared was listening to her. And I guess he asked Jared, and then Jared said, called you and said, why don't you cold call him? And yeah, so I'm really happy for you.
thank you.
I don't disappoint me. No, I'm kidding.
I will not. No,
Um,
I told Jared the same thing. I will, I was telling Ryan that that's the one thing about when you recruit people, when you bring people onto your team in the way that he did and has been doing, there is a real to me, which is why I think it's important to hire people that come with recommendations to some extent, because I absolutely take that seriously. Like I told him, I was like, "There's no way. Like, not only is it important that I don't let you down and Mark down and Flosum down, now there's no way I can let down Mark and Jared, so that it's to me that's really important. But I know that letting you down means I just didn't show up. You know what
no,
I mean? Like, I
yeah,
didn't even
yeah,
try. So I don't have any kind of, like, crazy, like, expectation to meet. But I will
no.
say
I
that
mean,
that was so cool. Like, Jared called and was like, "Julie," because I love Jared. I love getting calls from Jared because he'll be like, "Julie," and then he just tells me something, and I'm like, "Okay, you're right." And then I don't know, it's just so inspirational. But he was like, "You got to call Ryan Sclair. Do you know him?" And I'm like, I'm not sure. Probably. It sounds familiar." And so he tells me, he was like, "Right now, I had just gotten off of the live cold call, like literally 5 minutes off." And he goes, "Just call him right now and just pitch him just like you've been doing." And I was like,
yeah,
"Okay." And it was so fun because I don't know. I just like, well, one, it was fun because somebody answered the phone, right? That was fun. That
He
was
answers the
really
phone.
cool. He,
He does
he,
answer the phone.
he did answer the phone. And so that was awesome. And then um, I could tell right away how cool he was because of how, like, the way he was talking. And I just really,
Oh, he's a man.
yeah, I like somebody like that. So I'm excited. I'm really excited to be on his team.
Yeah, and he studied under the sales guy. He was a Keenan underling, if you will, for a little while, and then he went to
Yeah.
Dooley, and that's really where I think most people kind of latched onto him at Dooley for a little while. And then I don't even know if he was actually working 100% at Dooley or he was just doing like contract work there. But then, yeah, and then he went somewhere else. Then he was going to go to this company Adipar, and then now he's at Flowsome, and yeah, it's awesome. He lives not too far from me. He lives in I forget, but he lives in a nice area in Jersey, about a
Oh,
half
that's
hour away. So
very
and
cool.
we've never gotten together yet, not yet. And then
What?
when I saw him and Jared in the picture in the
Dang.
city, I was so FOMO. I was like, damn, man. I'm like, you should have called me, you know?
Well, I may be spending some time in Jersey because my daughter, her boyfriend, whom they're pretty serious with, he's an underwater welder. Wow.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
Like that's technical. But anyway, he just finished his training and has got a certification and everything. And one of the places he's looking to work is in New Jersey. So they've been pretty seriously looking, and if that's the case, it'll be soon. And so I was like, wow, like
I
that's
think you were
cool.
I think you're yeah, this is how I really kind of latched on to you. One day you said something about your kids, and then there's another gal who looks really, really young too, who had just had a grand is it I forget her name. Oh my god, it was another girl, kind of hanging around in the LinkedIn world there, who just had a granddaughter, and she looks like she's could be 30 years old. And I'm like,
uh,
and then when you said, "Oh, I've got kids in college," and that picture you had that day was like, I swear you look 20 something years
uh,
old, and I'm like, there's no way this girl has kids in college. I'm like, I didn't believe it. I think I said that. I was like, I even wrote that. I didn't even know who you were. I was like, I don't believe you. I think exactly that's what I wrote. I was like, I don't believe that you have kids in college.
you
Nah.
did say that, actually. Yeah. I appreciate that. That makes me feel so good. I
I
mean,
mean,
I
look at your
really
room. You almost look like you're in a college room with the little thing in the background and the
I,
flower.
I relate very like I spent a
You're
lot
young
of
at heart.
time
That's all right.
as a social media manager when I was freelancing. So I was a single mom for like 3 years. And thank God I met my husband because he saved me. We've been together for 10 years, and just when you have 4 kids, like being not having a partner is ridiculous. Like absolutely. And I was letting the inmates take over the asylum. It was outrageous. Like when he came along. Like my son hates when I tell the story, but I don't really care. Now it is forever on the internet. But he was so crazy because he's the only boy with 3 older sisters. And when my husband came to visit for the first time when we were engaged and it was like going to be serious, my son threw a bookcase down the stairs because my husband had put him in timeout. It was hysterical. But I just learned to be resourceful, and I spent a lot of time as social media manager. I spent a lot of time with young people because I was doing crypto. I was helping people with their brand image for crypto. Um, People who were, who were really looking to do shoot. What was that app? Dang, I forget what it was. I did a lot of video editing for people who did the I'm just blanking. See, there goes my memory. But I blame it. I'm an ovarian cancer survivor, so I have chemo brain still. I blame it on that, but that was a very long time ago. But anyway, what was the app where you like had these quick little videos and oh dang, I'm just completely blanking. But
Snapchat.
no, not Snapchat. It was like a Reels app where you would just have like quick
Vine.
fine. Yes. Thank you very much,
It's a
That's
Zach.
old,
flash in the
right?
pan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it
came
it
and went like
was.
that.
It did come and went. It did come and go very quickly, but for some, it was extremely catapulting into YouTube and some really good
LinkedIn
some
had like LinkedIn Spaces that came and went too, right?
yeah, I actually and also
Or something like that.
stories.
Oh, stories,
Stories,
LinkedIn
right?
stories. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I miss the story. I wish they'd bring stories back in some ways.
Well,
Uh,
I see. You know what they have now. You know how like they used to have a little mic, a little like bullhorn thingy or whatever, like sound thingy next to your name on LinkedIn, which you were able to get, I think,
yeah.
10 seconds to say. It was supposed to be to pronounce your last name, like if you had left.
Right.
Mm.
But then
Right.
people were using it for XYZ, right? I think they still have it, but what they've done now is now inside your picture, you can
Yeah.
have almost like a minute video, I
Yeah.
guess, right?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
saw somebody, I connected with somebody yesterday and I saw his, face thing change quickly, right? Because it's kind of like Giphy. And
Right.
so I clicked on it and it was literally, I think it was like at least a minute long.
So you
Like it
do
was a
click on a lot
lot.
of those? That's a good
No,
that's
but
an interesting
I think I'm gonna do that. Like I didn't think
yeah.
that's like a great, it's an amazing thing. Like, I mean, it's
What is her
definitely, it gives
name?
you enough time to deliver what
Yeah.
you're all about,
Yeah.
theoretically.
Yeah, it's I think Catherine Caldwell. Do you guys know Catherine?
No. Should we?
She is check her out. She is awesome at all things video. She actually even has a cohort or something going on I've been wanting to do. But anywho, she talks a lot about using that video on your profile and
Yeah.
what an impact it can really have. And that's interesting because what we're getting ready to move in as far as sales is concerned, especially for someone like SDRs and BDRs, like it's getting harder and harder to get in touch with people and really hard to get in touch with people. And when you do, you have to make like the absolute most of it. And video is a way for people to consume information on their time, right? Like
Mhm.
they still can engage with you in a way that's their way
Mhm.
on
Mm.
their time. And it's what people want right now. That's what, like,
Yeah.
if you look everywhere, people are consuming video. Why do they like video? Because they can be laying in their bed at 2 a.m.
Mhm.
and that's when they can consume the content. And how cool is that? Like at 2 a.m., somebody's like got Julie in there being like, "What's up? You should be using Flowsum." No, But I mean, you can make a you can make an impact and a connection with someone through video. And Catherine Caldwell, she does such an awesome job at helping people understand because it's intimidating, right? Like so,
Oh
for some
yeah.
people, yeah.
Say this all the time. Like, my very first video on LinkedIn, I've done presentations in front of conference room people and boardrooms, 300 people walking around, talking to them with the mic in my hand, doing a presentation with a PowerPoint up on the giant screen and got the clicker in my hand and being like, and first video I did, like I was like, what am I doing? Because you know what it is, I think, and Zach, he said this last time I told the story. It was like, because there's feedback when you're live with somebody, like when I was live with the people, like they were able to, like I was able to gauge whether or not I was getting through or that it was good or it was bad or I was making them laugh or I wasn't or whatever.
Yeah.
And when you put a video up and you just throw it out on the internet for millions of people to see, even though millions of people don't see it, but like enough people see it, you don't get feedback. And, even the feedback, even like people coming through and maybe making a comment or whatever, that's not immediate feedback, right? It's not the kind of feedback
Yeah.
you want to know. Like you literally want your mother saying, "Oh, that was great, honey," sometimes, and then you fear the person who says that was stupid, right? Like, and
It's
it's
the
all
energy.
in your head.
Yeah. Julie, I'm curious, how has TikTok changed the game for you?
So TikTok has changed the game for me because, well, I'll be honest. Here's how I got on TikTok. About a year ago today, I found myself, well, just a little bit more than a year ago, my husband was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Sucked,
Mm.
right? And I was told that I had to sell, I had to do a certain thing in order to keep my job. And if I didn't, then I was going to be let go. And I didn't succeed. I will tell you that I am the worst salesperson ever. Doesn't matter what I'm selling when I'm selling under fear. It's not the best way to manage me or motivate me. It is just really the worst way. Like I
Anybody.
literally I don't always crash and burn. I've learned to I have been in a lot of fear. I've had a lot of fear in my life, unfortunately, because I've been through a lot. And Mark, that's where the grit comes from because I've learned to get through it. But on the other hand, with selling, you can't you cannot fake it until you make it. In my opinion, when it comes to having real, authentic conversations with people, when I sell in fear, I'm like one of those pitchy people. I'm like constantly pitching, doing all the things, and I'm watching myself do it. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Is wrong, but I do it. So anyway, it's one of those things where I all of a sudden got let go. December 4th was I was let go, and I couldn't believe it. I let my whole family down. I was just like so lonely. And I had just turned to TikTok because my son was on it. And I firmly believe that as a parent, you need to be where you're on social media is dangerous, right? There's a lot of fun things about social media, but for kids, especially in their teens, it is impactful and it's dangerous. And you need to be there. And you can be there in whatever capacity you wish. I'm sure my son wishes I did not choose the capacity on TikTok that I chose. But I did, and it did change my life, Zach, because TikTok is this whole place of people who are just they're a community in their own way, and it's tough. It's a tough community, but they come together for the people. I call it like the misfits, for the people who need somebody. That's what they all want there, right? Like if you go to TikTok, like you're craving something, whatever it is, it's some sort of like a result. Yay! There's some kind of a result that we're craving, right? And you get it at TikTok because it's such a rush. And the way the algorithm works, it feeds you what you love, and you're constantly being fed all the things that you want and need to get that rush. And so I went to TikTok for a community, and those became my people. Like they were just so cool. And it was just really awesome the way that they quickly jumped on to my message. And I'm a smiling mom. That's who I am. I've been there for a very long time. I've had a personal brand. I just believe in helping people, lifting people up, all the stuff. And no matter what platform I'm on or what I'm doing, I believe in that, which is why Sassy Sales Moms is such a thing, because that's what I believe in. But on TikTok, being able to create and use my creative side, like that's awesome, right? And then seeing people respond to it, and
I,
the messages, it's awesome.
I don't know. Like I could consider doing TikTok videos, but I think I would do the TikTok video and then just post it to LinkedIn and not build my community. Like, how did you build that community on TikTok enough to even get feedback like that? And by the way, Sassy Sales Moms is great. Let's bring Shanda in before
Yay,
we. There she is.
Shanda!
Yay!
Woo! My sales soul sister. Yes.
Yay!
I
Sorry.
like that song. Hey, soul sister,
It's catchy.
ain't you missed the message
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
waiting for my
radio?
amino acids to kick in, so I'm still not fully awake.
I love this about
There you go.
her.
Did you read every
gotta,
single one of
you gotta
those
tell us
books in
about
the?
that.
No, I do have books. I can't wait to have a home office again, and then it'll look a lot like my background. Absolutely, because I'm a super nerd like that. I have to be reading and growing and learning.
Shanda has big goals. That's what I think that's why
Yes.
Shanda and I gravitated towards each other, because there's so much about us that's so like aligned. And she is not afraid to have big goals. Sometimes I tell people things and they're like, Julie, what the heck are you thinking?
Yeah.
Right? Like they're like, just shut up. But Shanda never does that. And she
No.
jumps on, right?
Let's go bigger.
Just says,
Let's
go.
why not?
Right. I love that.
You have to surround yourself with people who believe in you and you believe in
Mhm.
them. And regardless of where you want to go, if it's the next step or bigger or better, it doesn't matter. I mean, like Zach and I naturally gravitated. Well, we were forced to gravitate to each other since we worked together. No, I'm kidding. We did too. Like we were like just riffing one day on a like a big group call, and then he's like, "Yo, you want to chat?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then we started chatting, and then I'm like, well, "Let's just record this," like I think that's how it happened. I mean, we both have the same kind of sales mentality, BDR mentality, and so it's but we wanted to do SDR Insider. When we started to develop this, it was like we wanted to highlight people who aren't, like, you look on LinkedIn and it's like Keenan and this one and that one and Justin Michael and blah 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 and Josh Braun and blah. It's like, okay, and there's a lot of repetitive stuff, right? and even some of what we do may be too, but it's we just wanted, like, there wasn't any show or anything about being in the trenches, like what's the nitty gritty of doing BDR work, and like we want the inside track, like what is it that you do as a BDR that's been making you get through your day, and what's making you successful, and let's get those people on and share that with the BDR world, because it is a hard job and people do struggle and they think about it like way too much. And like, there are a lot of easy workarounds to whatever they're going through in their head, the head trash, as Candace Tabor used to say to us. And like, you gotta, like, you need a support system as a BDR. Like, the one thing for me, like, which growing up, growing up in sales, the reason why it becomes more so difficult sometimes is because, of course, it's the little bit of rejection, as they say, like getting hung up on, and that's not really rejection. We all know that, but it's like, you don't have somebody telling you that, you have a phrase, right, Julie? It's you are enough, right? And I resonate with that, because, and I think more SDRs and BDRs should, because you are enough. Just because today sucked or tomorrow's gonna suck or yesterday sucked doesn't mean you can't rock it out. I mean, like yesterday, like I had a pretty miserable day all day until 3:00, 3:30 when it started popping, and I set 3 meetings, and I wasn't, and I got up from my desk at like 5:30 or 5:45, and because nobody showed up to my office hours. And so I was like,
why does nobody show up to your office hours?
Hold on, I would totally show up. It's just at a bad time for me. I would be there every
Shanda's
single
just
day.
hustling,
I said that several
winning.
times.
She's in training and winning. You guys, she is on. I love texting Shanda throughout the day, because one, I'm a highly competitive person, but I believe in competition that's like more kind of independent, if that makes any sense. So like,
but not toxic. It's like,
it's not toxic. Like, so if I need to hear how good Shanda's doing, because that kicks me into gear, because then I'm like, what the heck? I can't. I got to get to work here. Look at this woman. She is going, and it motivates me, right? And this woman is always on the leaderboard. She is in a call heavy environment. That is a big focus right now for her. As her SDR, it's like a contract type job, and it's call heavy, and it's KPI focused, and she is
extremely
on the leaderboard, man. Like, and I just love hearing from her, because it's technical. It's not hard. It's not easy stuff. It was, and she just did it. And I love that. That's what I love about Shanda. And that's why we started Sassy Sales Moms, right? Because, we are all, not all of us, but a lot of us are remote workers. And even if you're not a remote worker, like Zach said, it is so lonely in sales. Really, it's a lonely job sometimes. And if you get it in your head, you can just sabotage yourself. Like, you can just absolutely sabotage yourself. And so having a community of people who can remind you of, why you're doing this and why you're good, and lift you up and share ideas and share resources. Like, there are so many like resources on the internet. Like, it's funny, Zach, when I first started at Abstract, I was telling Sam, the other the SDR that's there now, and I was like, you have got to listen to Zach Bauer. He is just, I think you could really pull off his style, and it's just smooth. You check out his calls, like, you're going to love it. And I love that you can do that on the internet, right? Like, that's what I love about LinkedIn. Like, I literally could never be like on LinkedIn enough. There's so much learning to be had there. And that's what I love about it. So sharing it like through Sassy Sales Moms, that's what Shannon and I want to do.
Yeah. So, and helping those people who are single moms who are trying to get jobs as an SDR or BDR, and know
any
that
kind of mom or parent, any kind of mom or parent or person who's trying to overcome breaking into this job. I'm sorry, I don't want to offend anybody, but this is stupid. How hard it is they make it to break into the SaaS industry. Like, literally missing out on so many really good people because of a closed-minded idea of what a person should be. But that's okay, because you can pivot. You can take your history of background and you can find a way to make it very applicable to SaaS. You just got to learn, right? Like,
I think
that's so true.
And takes me back to one of the earlier episodes. I think you were one of the first people, Julie, to show up pretty consistently on SDR Insider, and I think we were talking about just that. And you jumped into the conversation talking about your experience a little bit about not having the sales or the SaaS background. Um, and I love that you guys have a bigger purpose, right? To go out there and help people and like break down those barriers. So talk a little bit about that. Like, how does that make you feel? How do you what's your big goal with Sassy Sales Moms?
So I would say our big goal is to help people find jobs as SDRs and BDRs and then feel confident that they can go be successful once they get those jobs. So, um, it's
So
important.
are you gonna create like, so where they get the job and they can join kind of like your community, and if you have like a channel where you guys or you meet once a week to provide that support or that kind of roundtable support would be cool if you're not already doing it. I would say like, you get a job, you help somebody get a job, but now they're like, oh my God, I'm freaking out, So
Yeah,
like you need to be on call almost and be like, yo, come on, let's have a talk.
we do. And we want to be on call. Like we have a Slack channel that we just started.
Oh, cool. Cool.
We are going to do a weekly live and try to bring on people in two ways. One, we want to bring on new like job searchers, right, Shanda? Like people who are looking for jobs. And that's why last week we highlighted Shanda. And then we also want to bring on somebody who is killing it to share some of their secrets, or somebody who's a resource to job seekers, just resources in general. But like for an example, Rev Genius, like there's so many awesome resources out there and people don't even know about it, right? And so we want to be there for that kind of like emotional support, but also as a resource to be like, oh, you know what? If you're struggling in this, then you really need to go to Rev Genius. Or cold calling, you suck at that. Like it's hard to transition. I absolutely believe that you can, that the skills outside of SaaS can make you better here, but it is hard, right? Like we have to learn extra. I have a little bit of extra learning to do. I have to catch up. Shanda has to catch up. We have to learn what the terminology is. We gotta learn more. And
Well,
so,
I'm gonna interject and say, look, a lot of stuff. So you've been in sales a long time in various capacities, probably the same with you, Shanda, right?
Mhm.
In tech sales or SaaS sales, everything that you don't know or you think you don't know, like acronyms and terms and stuff like that, they all exist in the other world that you were in. They just call it something different there. 9 times out of 10, they actually call it what it is as opposed to an acronym. You know, I think that's what I learned when I came into this industry. Like I was in tech sales in the late 90s, and there was no SaaS, right?
Right.
And the real, and I'm not trying to downplay SaaS and that it's not, technical in some cases and could be, complex, but complex sales are solution sales. It's the same in other industries. There's a problem that you need to solve, and you need to identify what that problem is and see if the solution makes sense, and then get somebody to want to talk about it and maybe potentially pull the trigger. It ain't any more complicated than any other industry. They seem to think that it is because it's a subscription model, right? And
Yeah.
quite frankly, I've sold $100,000 deals, $1 million deals, $500,000 deals, capital expenditure deals, which are, to be honest with you, for me, in my mind, is so much harder to do because you're asking somebody to put $1 million down, boom, right? Versus
Yeah.
$300 a month. Oh, pay me
Right.
$300 a month, and then if it doesn't go very well and doesn't work for me, I could cancel it. That's a
Right.
whole lot easier, to be honest with you, than selling $1 million deal that once they write the check, it's theirs, right? They have it. They have to deal with it, broken, fixed, whatever. And I don't see that it's very complicated. There are, just like every other industry, there are certain businesses, certain companies, maybe cybersecurity or other kinds of things that are very complex, and it's a very much more deeper, much more complex sale, enterprise. Maybe it takes longer. They say like enterprise. So selling to a big corporation with multiple
Yeah.
stakeholders versus transactional. Now that's two completely different things, but that exists in other worlds outside of tech sales too. So I don't know why there's such an attitude, like this elitist attitude that the tech sale that some SaaS people have. You're not any more complicated than any other industry. Now, with respect to people like our age who have had experience, if you could sit down with a interviewer, I guess, and you could frame your background in the context of tech sales and what they're giving to you, then I think you should be given a shot, or at least maybe you had a good interview, right? But
Yeah.
like, I think that's where the disconnect is that people get this like, oh, you don't have 2 years of SaaS sales. Oh my God. Well, how do I get it if everyone is requiring it, right?
Right.
And so can I frame what I've done? Can I have an understanding of SaaS? Do I understand SaaS well enough from my friends and Rev Geniuses to maybe be able to frame what I've been doing the last 15 years into what I could be doing for you? And yes, they should open their minds and bring people in from other industries. And I think it's loosening up. I mean, there's
I
a lot of
do.
people
I
out there
do.
that have gotten jobs for teachers, like Aaron Wallace, who was on our show
Yeah.
or on my show a couple of months ago, and various other people who have broken in. So
I think
it's
those are the
changing.
companies winning, Mark. The ones that I see that I have lots of opinions. Like I feel like Shanda and I need to have also like a little talk show, like a gossip show assessing all, but that would be too much. But still
No, it would be great. It would
I'm
be great. And I
constantly
was on
assessing
it.
who I think's winning at the moment. Do you know what I mean? And the people who I think are winning, these SaaS companies that I think are winning, are the ones who are opening their minds to the people that they're hiring, and they are willing to learn from everybody. Like they're not they're not title snobs. They're not just worried about like, listen, I am a salesperson. I promise you that I can find a way to make my LinkedIn profile look a certain way, feel a certain way, and give you what you need to make you want to hire me. That is not hard to do. That is something that many, many people can do, right? Like you can do that. So why would you really need to dig deep into what people have to offer, because if you have someone at your company who's an SDR but they have this awesome stuff that they can bring to the table, like go get them and like use them, because it's such a wasted resource. I see companies all the time that are hiring and I'm like, that's interesting. Why are they hiring outside when they literally have so much talent inside? And especially with the way we hire in SaaS, because we require just about everybody to start over from the beginning as an SDR, you are dealing with some talented people in that SDR pool that are like, put me in, coach, I'm ready to go. So like you, Zach, I mean, dang, you were like, now you're an AE and that's really exciting, but you were so talented just and killing it as an SDR. So I don't know. I'm hopeful that the SDR role doesn't feel as entry level anymore, because I don't think it's a fair position to put somebody in just because, like, I think it's a hard job to have right out of college. Like, everybody that comes out of college isn't necessarily ready. Like, do you think, Shanda, like...
No, because you have to have a certain amount of confidence. You have to have confidence in sales regardless. But in tech sales, you have to have confidence, but it has to be humble confidence, because if you're too cocky, people at Click, they don't want to hear that. Mm-hmm. So it's a fine dance that you have to do to show you do have the knowledge, you are an empathetic listener, just the whole thing. So I know me during those years, I wouldn't have done well. I wouldn't. And I own that. And I think it's something you have to cultivate and you have to grow it.
Yeah. So it's actually probably not a bad strategy, making everybody start over, because then you get everybody best.
It does take some stamina too. Like it does take some understanding of that you are enough, I think, is really that keeps resonating back with me. Like, you can do this. It's not as hard as you think it is. It's hard because you're just starting out and you don't know anything else, and it's like, you think it's like this mountain in front of you to try to get over. And, you could have the best of the best behind you, like the Ryan Scalaras or the Julian Esters of the world or whatever. But you could, it's overwhelming when you first come out, because it's constant, because you're not good. There's no way you're good when you first come
Nobody
out of
can be
school.
good at the beginning, right? You got to start somewhere.
Like, I mean, I think what makes somebody like you, Shando, or Julie good, or Zach and myself, or anybody else that's a little bit, has some tenure, is that we're confident in ourselves. And I think when you first come out of school, like even when I first came out of school, as confident as I might have felt, I was probably more cocky than confident. And that's what came through. And now I realize cocky is only meant for certain times. Like I'll be honest with you, I was very cocky on one call, and it was a closing call, and the guy was like, well, why you guys? And you know what I said? Me, that's why. And we got the deal, so I don't care.
I mean, there's a time. I mean, like, yeah, there's always
but you
a
have
time.
you have to have some confidence. Yet, having some hits under your belt, where you have been knocked down, and of course, starting conversations, right? Opening conversations is so very difficult. I mean, yesterday I tried to start a conversation with a guy because on his LinkedIn page, he's an older guy, but on his LinkedIn page, he was wearing a really nice sport jacket.
Right.
I happen to have one that looks almost like it. I tried to start the conversation with that. I was like, hey, John, are you still at so-and-so? Yeah, great. This is Mark over at Amplify. Hey, before I jump into it, I just got to tell you, man, that jacket you're wearing, my brother's in the custom clothing business, and that's a super cool looking jacket. I'm sure you love wearing it. I miss wearing mine. I haven't worn it in so long. Silence. Complete silence. He didn't even react. He didn't even react. He was like, and? He goes, and?
Oh.
And I was like, okay, so the reason for my call. and like I think people, like, when you're young and you don't have or not young, but if you haven't been shown this kind of other styles, you haven't seen other people's styles, you haven't been listening to yourself on recordings, and you haven't been studying other people, it's hard. You're probably just following the script, right? And with some people that might work because they don't want the bullshit talking about how I look on LinkedIn, right? They just get to the point, right? That happened to be one of those guys. And so normally that doesn't happen. I usually do get a chuckle, but it was like, you don't have that kind of finesse when you first start out. That's all. And I think it takes time to get that. It takes practice, and it takes just being confident in yourself. So Shanda, tell me, I mean, like, are you, so you just like, we got to get you something full-time, something solid, and you'll be smiling and dialing, right?
Well, I'm smiling and dialing anyway. I'm just trying to I'm trying to get to the next thing. You know how that is when
Are you still with Celex, or no? You still working on that stuff? Or?
I'm working a little bit there. I have 3 fractionals in addition to my contract. So yeah, I'm a little busy. I'm trying to, like Julie said, I've got big plans, and I'm trying to get there as I'm running the numbers constantly. Okay, how can we get there? Let's get there a little sooner without burning out. That's the key. So it's all about balance and filling yourself back up, because you get depleted. Even on a good day, you get depleted. And like Julie said, you have to have your people that you reach out to during the day. And she knows, she's in my speed dial. She's one of my top ones that I call her and Zaya both. I'm just like, I need some happiness, make me laugh. And there's usually some kind of playlist involved. And
I was about to say, what are you listening to? What are you eating? What are you drinking that's getting you fired up? That's the music, obviously. So
yeah, I'm one of those crunchy people. So Blue's being grumpy again. Okay, sorry. Hold on. So yes, it is never boring around here. There's always something. I'm all about the natural, holistic approaches. So I don't drink coffee, and everybody gasps. I'm like, no, I have my liquid aminos. So much better, never going back. But if you want your coffee, I totally relate, because I miss the taste. I don't miss the jitters, but it's pumpkin spice season. I'm missing that right now. But playlists, meditation, I'm huge on meditation. Usually if somebody else comes to me and they're having a rough day, I'm like, okay, so give me a little information, and then I'll send them something. Hey, go try this. Give yourself 15 minutes. Just get chill and get re-engaged and just go. It's going to be great.
And Julie, what are you drinking or eating to get you fired up?
Well, I drink, and I am a energy drink enthusiast, like literally a connoisseur. I'm obsessed with energy drinks of all kinds. Right now, obviously, I like Celsius because TikTok, but also I love there's a Bang one. I forget what it's called. It's a really good one that I love. So that's what I'm drinking. And then I listen to a lot of rap music. A lot. Like my Spotify is I hesitate to share it because it just isn't, it's not necessarily something you would think of that you would get from a smiling mom like me. So it's still awesome. And I got a bouncy ball chair and I just bounce away. And yeah. But calling Shanda, she's the reason why, she's the reason why I knew we had to do Sassy Sales Moms because I've been wanting to do a community, something to help people because of how hard it is to find a job. And especially now with all these layoffs. And I realized that, she always says, "Oh, you didn't do it. I didn't do it, Julie. You did." But she, when I just got that job, when I tell you that people like Shanda and Jared Robin and you, Mark, but also Zaya and all the people, you can do so much more when you have support, and you can do so much more. And I was at a point last week where I was pretty upset. I was kind of upset. I lost my job, and I could have gone two ways. I could have gone to the bed with some Ben and Jerry's and binge watch, Below Deck. I could have gone there. Or I could have said, okay, pivot, and what's the next thing for my future? And I was so close to not doing that. And if it wasn't for Shanda and Jared is an amazing motivational, getting him on the phone. If he calls, shoot, answer his phone call too, because talking to him, I get off the phone, believe I can do anything. And Shanda's the same way. I start to feel like I'm spinning out of control. There's no way I can handle all this stuff. There's no way I can do this. And because I didn't think I could get on and do the cold call thing. There's no way. I thought I was like, how can I do this when I know what's happening right now? I can't do this. And she's like, yeah, you can do this. And then I'm like, yeah, you're right. I've done I've done so much harder stuff. And so I think that's what's important. That she gets me through my day. So she's my energy. I don't know what I'd do without her. Dang it.
What's on your hat?
It is Dark Social.
Oh,
This
Dark Social.
is Jared. This is a hat by Rev Genius. Are you guys big Dark Social?
Well, there's a channel, there's a WhatsApp group called Dark Social. It was
Really?
yeah. It's Patrick Joyce. Do you know Patrick Joyce?
No, I'll have to find it.
Well,
Interesting.
if you don't know Patrick Joyce, you need to be looking him up. Patrick William Joyce. He is the email sequence king. The email, text body. I mean, he and I and Justin.
I love all
Michael
these sales celebrities. I freaking love it.
Nah, he really, his stuff works. I've proven it.
Okay.
And so we have a WhatsApp channel. It's called Dark Social.
That's so funny. Yeah,
But that's what Dark Social is, right? Dark Social is Rev Genius, is WhatsApp, is these other Zoom calls, whatever, But and it's if you know,
Yeah.
It's like,
well, Dark Social is happening right now. We just shared all these things, and now all these people are going to go looking up all the people that we shared, and who knew where that came from? It's hard to sometimes chase down, but we have a Dark Social group here on LinkedIn. And what's really cool is we're really learning and talking about how do you put some tangible metrics, KPIs around Dark Social. You can, there's things that you can do. You just that we talk about that in our group a lot because a lot of people are just really trying to do that. Jen Allen, she's like a queen. She's a super queen. I don't know. I think that woman is amazing. And she gives a lot of guidance on how you can some things that you can do to measure your impact and your Dark Social reach. So,
yeah, I mean, I look at it like, hey, I said something to somebody else and now you have a job. I've done that a few times for people. And I think that for me, that's been my mission is despite me, being wherever I'm at, I try to just lift people up. So does Zach. I mean, that's why we do this, right? We're just trying to lift SDRs up. We're trying to, let them know that they're not alone and that, you know, there's ways to get better and there's resources.
Mhm.
And the more we just keep shouting it from the rooftops, the better the sales world will get.
Yeah, no doubt. I think I just want to make sure I say this because I think I've drawn a lot of inspiration from you two also watching your journeys and also knowing on the flip side, like you're not just posting on social media just because, like you're literally out there getting it every day, true practitioners, like in the whole sense of the word. And it's just amazing to watch. And I know Chanda right now, like you're doing like a million things, but that thing's gonna drop for you, and when it happens, it's gonna be huge because, like, there's just a buzz, out there, like, you look anywhere, like, you're showing up here and there, and
For sure.
Julie, things are aligning, like, it's really cool. So I appreciate what you both are doing for the SDR community, the sales community, just everything you're doing,
Yeah.
just super cool.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
the
makes
the
my
Sunday
cheeks
night,
hurt.
the Sunday. Oh, you talk about you two guys. When you mentioned I literally pressed the button. I went off of the show for a second, and you guys were talking about me. I gotta go back to it. But like I was like my face was hurting. That's why I was like, please stop. I'm like, oh, she
We
can't.
think
You must have said
we
my
think you're
name.
pretty
Like
awesome.
between the two of you said my name like 3 times, and I'm like 30 times. And I'm like, oh my god, is this people talking about me? And I'm like, oh my god. And I'm usually not like that. I'm like, you know, I would normally take it probably, you know, better, but I was like, I don't know. I was very flattered.
Aw.
I don't blush. And I was just like, oh, stop saying my name.
Everybody deserves to feel like that, Mark, because you do, because you're awesome. Like
Well, thanks.
you don't have to do half the things. All this that you guys are doing right now, like you don't have to do this. This is all something that you're not getting paid to do this. Nobody's paying you to do this, and you're spending money to do this, and you're doing it to, like you said, to create a voice for people, and it's really awesome. So I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
So yeah, we think you're pretty awesome. That's why I've been such a fangirl of your guys' show. Like I
Yeah.
love it.
I
And
think we're,
also the timing for me is perfect. I don't know
yeah,
why everybody else can't pick it up. Like
I'm not a big fan. I mean, like, we're not, I mean, metrics are metrics, right? Like, I'm not necessarily like, okay, well, there's only 3 people watching, but once we start posting it to the normal channels, then people could just re-listen to it and on the podcast channels. But, you know, like, I don't know. I haven't said this to Zach, but I have been thinking about maybe we could move this to a different time. I mean, you know, it is early. One of the things I think when you do something early in the morning that you lose is you lose the West Coast crowd, you know,
right.
and I think we do have West Coast fans, like
Mhm.
just our
Yeah.
followers on LinkedIn that, I mean, we got lucky with what's his name who came on. It was, he's in California, Kellen. He woke up, it was 5 o'clock in the
Kellen,
morning for
yeah.
him.
Oh
And he
dang, yeah,
still
that's
got
tough.
on. My fellow Grateful Deadhead, he got on at like 5, and he was lively, more lively than the two of us. And it was 5 a.m. in California. I mean, that probably has a lot to do with the fact that he's in his 20s and I'm in my almost 50. But it's yeah, I just think, I don't know, maybe we'll do it at 4:20 on Thursdays.
Ooh, ooh, that's got a good one. I like that
Hmm.
one. Um, that's a
Maybe
good
we'll do
one.
that.
And then for the
Yeah.
people who, it's hard though because
Or
you
we'll
do have
redo it
people.
again at 4:20.
I don't know. I would say this is something that Sassy Sales Moms is really excited about right now that we're doing. And this is my prediction. As much as I love TikTok, I think it's kind of jumping the shark, going the way of the vine. And so I actually am very excited about YouTube and YouTube Shorts. And this type of an environment that you guys have here, this show, you can make a long form video for your YouTube channel and then a bunch of shorts, like Jared says, bite-sized chunks. I love Jared's podcast on Spotify. It's called Revenue Today. And it's really cool because it's got like long, parts, but then it also has bite-sized chunks. And so anyway, that's what I think is that's what I see on the future right now. That's where I see all the TikTokers going. You can monetize on LinkedIn. I mean, on YouTube a lot easier, and you don't have a lot of the crazy TikTok. So there's some crazy things. You have to be careful on TikTok, y'all, because any minute you can lose your account. Like I've got 10,000 followers, right? But any minute, for no reason whatsoever at all, somebody could report me and I could lose my account. They're just extremely rigid and not forgiving. I've seen it happen to
Report you
people.
for what? That's what I'm gonna.
It's
And
just
how did
anything.
you get 10,000? Like, how long did that take?
Because I built it took about 4 months.
Oh wow.
I love to build it. To me, it's like some people like to video game, and I do too. I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer at heart. But big game coming out on Friday, so get hype about that. But I also love growing social media. I love it. It's like a
Awesome.
game to me. It's like a game. You know what I mean? Like figure out the audience, figure out the way.
It is.
It's very hard for me to communicate how I do it. To be honest, very hard. And it's extremely obsessive, and not most people would put as much time as I do into it. But it's the thing I like.
I feel like I'm spread so thin. I don't know. I mean, I like posting on LinkedIn, but TikTok, and to do TikTok and YouTube, it just seems like a lot
It's a
more
lot.
like,
It's a lot.
like I think the one thing I've learned over the years, and I was an independent rep and I had like 4 or 5, like you, China, that I had 4 or 5 accounts, and there were one or eventually I realized that one was suffering because maybe it wasn't as successful as the other 4, and so I neglected it a little bit, and I went where the money was. And sometimes you could get into that trap when you're an independent and you have multiple accounts, and you're like, and maybe that's why you have multiple accounts, because you don't know if the one's going to hit. But like, you have to be honest with your owners or whoever's hiring you with that respect and say, hey, look, I really just don't have time for this. And I feel like I'm not doing you a justice. I walked away from a senior living SaaS product that I was selling, that I was doing pretty good at. It's just, I realized that I was spending way too much more time with everything else. And I wasn't giving that particular owner his fair share to make him successful. And so I pulled out. And so that would be the only thing that I would caution you on, if I had to say, if you had asked me, not that you're asking me, but would be like, just be cognizant of where you could be slipping, and don't sell yourself short. Like, it's okay to walk away from that. You know what I mean? It's okay to tell that guy or that gal, say, hey, look, I thought I could handle this, but I don't want to, I don't want to do you guys the wrong way. So I'm gonna have to, slow down or part ways or whatever. But if you think you can handle it and you're doing great, awesome. But I realize that there's only so much one person can handle and be
Yes.
successful at each. So
It's so true. Yeah, we talk about that a lot. We do.
Yeah, of the balance. But yeah, I'm going to talk to you later, Mark, about your office hours and see if we can come to a time I can get in there, because you are a great resource.
maybe
And
4 o'clock.
it's one of those, absolutely, people don't know all the resources they have, and a lot of people have very flexible schedules, and they can shift things to, hey, I need to be there. This, even if I'm just lurking and listening to the other conversations that you're having with people, that's still gained knowledge, and to not take advantage of that is crazy. But yes, you are absolutely correct about making sure that you're in excellence in all of your projects, and not biting off too much, and knowing when to say, I have to scale back. And I've gotten to that point of, that's why I started actively looking, because I'm like, this is too much. It just,
Yeah, that's what happened to
it's
me.
got
I
to all
reached
come
out.
together.
Same thing happened to me. I had 3 or 4 things going on, and then finally I said to Jared one day, I was like, hey, Jared, I think I want to work for somebody. That's what I said. And he goes, I just talked to Steve Schmidt yesterday. Do you know him? And I'm like, no. And then 2 weeks later, I started working at Title. So it was.
That's where I found you guys, both of you. I started becoming your fans back when you worked for Title, and I was like, this Title thing is so cool. So
It
that's
was.
where it was very cool. And you guys
That-
were all awesome. Like literally loved all of y'all. So very cool.
Awesome. Well, hey, I think we're at the top of the hour, a little bit past. Zach?
Yeah. We're 9:10 on the East Coast. I don't know what time that is elsewhere, but super early still. Anyway, it been a great conversation. Julie, Shauna, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, look
Sassy
forward to,
Sales Moms is Sunday night, 8 o'clock. Is that right?
There you go.
Yes.
Check it out on LinkedIn. Is there a LinkedIn page too, so that they could find the show? Perfect.
Sassy Sales Moms.
And yeah, just stay in touch. We'll have you guys back. Maybe we'll have Shanda on as the primary, and then we'll bring Julie in afterwards.
Awesome.
Well, we do need a guest, I think, for next week. I think we're short on a guest for next week, actually, to be honest.
Yeah,
well,
well-
maybe Shanda will have awesome news to share.
there you go.
All right. Well, hey, thanks
All right,
again.
thank you,
Zach, you want
guys.
to take us out?
Yeah, we will catch you next Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern, too early Pacific. And Follow us on SDR Insider. See you next week.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.